So much for showing up today. I'm here to talk about Teen Talk, which is a program that I started in my school my freshman year, and it's still going. It is a mental health resource group, and so I'm here to talk to you guys today about that, as well as some mental health resources that you can use as leaders. So let's just start with a little bit about me. So my name is Max Quinn. I'm the Missouri FCCLA state president, and I am from Macon, Missouri. It is a tiny, tiny little town, only about 5,000 people. We don't even have a super Walmart. The local hangout is a Dollar Tree. So if just for reference on how small that is, I'm a senior at Macon High School and is my fourth year in FCCLA. I've been through it all 4 years of my high school experience. And my favorite FCCLA memory was taking Teen Talk as my star event my freshman year. I just got to meet so many cool people, work with a lot of people in my community as well as my school. And I just thought it was such an important message to share with people throughout the state level and the regional level, as well as the national level. So some quick facts so you can see the impact that mental health has on people. 17% of youth are experiencing a mental disorder right now. So that is almost 1 in 5. If you take 5 of your friends, about one of them will have a mental illness. And if you apply that to your whole school, that's so many people that aren't getting help. And if you look at the next statistic, only 2.9% of adolescents access mental health resources. So that's like 15% that is not getting the help that they need. They might not have the access in their area to it. They might not be looking for help because they think it's too stigmatized. And if you look at the last statistic, according to the Washington Post, there is on average only one school psychologist for every 1,381 students. So if you take that 1,381 times 17%, you're looking at about 235 students who have a mental disorder, who are looking for help. But I don't know about you guys, but having one person for 235 students just does not seem feasible to me. I mean, they're going to have to fit all those people in their day. They're going to be overbooked, overworked. It's just not working out. And our people are paying the price for it. So it's something that really needed addressed. So Teen Talk was started because we saw a need in the school and the community. Just looking at the statistics themselves, not even in our own community, we saw that there was such a need all over the country and in our world. So we started by reaching out to the counselors. We sent out a survey to the students. So we reported the findings of our survey to the counselors and asked them some questions about, what they think we needed in the school, the types of programs that they wanted implemented, but they weren't able to. And we contacted principals and community members because they have such valuable perspectives on these things that they weren't necessarily being implemented. And we wanted to give them a voice into our schools to show them that not necessarily like it's not just an us thing, it is a whole community-wide problem and the whole community needs to be a part of it. And I added lastly that we took it as our interpersonal communication star event, and it's last for a reason. So when you're making a program like this, you want to make sure that your heart is in the right place. So you're not just looking to compete and you're not just looking to, get glory or recognition for it. You want to make sure that your number one priority is always helping out those individuals who need it. So don't go looking out thinking this program is something that you can just take for something to show off. You want to make sure that your heart's in the right place and that you're doing the best you can by these students so that they're getting the help they need. So when we had our Teen Talk project, we talked about having multiple parts of it so that we were able to hit students from different angles. So just because one way didn't work doesn't mean that another way wouldn't. So we brought in a speaker, we hung up resources in the hallway and in our bathrooms. We started a talk group and we advocated to our school for more mental health professionals as well as counselors. So all of those parts were very effective in their own ways. For the speaker, we had Mike Donahue from Value Up. So his main goal is that he teaches students their value and their intrinsic worth. And his main motto is, it's okay to not be okay. So those students who are struggling with mental illness or they have other struggles in their life, they think, why am I like this? I'm wrong. It's not okay to be like this. And his main message is it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to be a little bit broken. You're going to pick yourself up and you're going to be fine. Just so those students know they don't have that extra stigma attached. There's not necessarily anything wrong with them. It's just an off day, or it's just something in their brain, some chemicals that are messed up. I mean, just so they know that it's okay for them to not be okay. He also met with our health awareness within their clubs. So it's not just our club that was a part of this. We wanted to make sure that we had as much outreach as we can. So those clubs have so much influence in our school, whether that's through their own members or the influence that they have so they can push out materials or spread awareness. So we wanted to make sure it was a whole school effort and not just FCCLA, because our main goal was to reach the most people that we can and make sure that the most people were impacted by the message that we had. And when it comes to bringing a speaker to your school, I know that it can be very expensive. And our speaker was like $2,000, something like that. We were lucky to have the administration and the school board behind it. But even just having like your local school psychologist or having a local therapist or, even like a counselor, just talk to your whole student body, that can also be such a positive thing. And it doesn't have to be crazy expensive for you to do that. Next, we're going to move on to the resources. So we hung up mental health hotlines in bathrooms and hallways. So we had like the addresses of our local therapists. We had some hotlines like the suicide hotline, the Trevor Project, which deals with LGBTQ plus people, just so we can reach those people in the most ways. They might be too embarrassed to look it up themselves, and then we don't want them doing anything to themselves that they can't fix. So we just wanted to make sure they have those resources to use. And we also created a directory for sensitive topics in our library. So things like rape, things like suicide, anxiety, depression, those sensitive topics, they might not necessarily want to talk to the librarian, or they might not want to talk to their teacher to find that book in the library. So it shows the exact location. They can pick it up discreetly. They don't need to make a big deal about it or anything. And it just makes sure that those people who are ashamed of what they have aren't necessarily, they don't have no access to those resources. We also made affirmation papers for students to carry with them. As you look at this picture, it's just little tiny papers that they have that have kind messages to get them through their day. And for most people, that wouldn't be such a big deal. But if a student's just having an off day, if someone needs a kind word, they don't have that in their life. We saw kids put them in their phone cases, wear them as bracelets, just keep them in their backpacks. That kind message could be the thing that gets them through their day or it saves them. So we want to just hit it from every angle to make sure that those students have the help they need. And even if it's something super small, it's still going towards the big picture. The biggest part of our group was the talk group. So we had teen talk nights. We started by asking the school therapists and counselors their opinions because they are the experts and we want them to have the most say. They know the problems and the struggles that our students deal with. So we created the talk group as a means for students to talk about their problems in a safe space. They might not talk in their normal class and they might not talk to their family or to a trusted adult. We want them to have ways to talk to other people about the problems they're dealing with, but not have that spread everywhere. So we had options for nonverbal communication. If a student doesn't want to talk, they can just draw out their feelings or they can journal. But just sitting in that room, it's just such a great experience to hear everybody talk about their struggles and know that it's okay for them not to be okay. And they're all not okay. They're okay to not be okay together. We also had large and small group discussions. So it's important to have variety when you are creating a program like this, just so that if a student is not willing to do it one way, there's 10,000 other options for them to still do it and still get the help they need. I also added that the school therapist is in charge of the program. So me and the other person who took the STAR event with me and my advisor all took a seat in the back. We didn't really participate that much. We hosted it, we provided the space, and we sent out the materials, we provided the flyers and snacks, but we weren't necessarily in charge of it. So just because FCCLA is in charge of the program doesn't mean that the school therapist isn't in charge of the entire group. So they have all the experience. We do not have the experience. We don't want to be coming from a place where we have no knowledge of. And the school therapist has their bachelor degree, they have their master's degree. They have so much experience with these things. We want them to have all of the say in this, because if we were just giving advice to the students, it wouldn't be coming from a place of experience or a place that we have lots of knowledge in. So we just want to make sure they're getting all the help they can get, and they want experienced help, not necessarily the help of people who are running the program but don't necessarily have that experience. It is also free to come and go as they please. So if they're talking about a touchy subject for a student, we don't want them to have to feel like they have to sit there and relive those experiences or deal with something they're not ready to deal with. So they're just free to walk out. It's okay to just walk out, and you don't need to make it feel like they have to stay or get the help they need, because they'll come back another day. Just because they're not ready that day doesn't mean they won't be ready the next day. So just keep hitting them from every way you can. Eventually they can get the help they need, and you can be a big part of that, especially in a talk group like this, because it's just such an open area for students to talk about what they want. So the follow-up that we did afterwards, we advocated to our school board, and we talked to our administration to let them know how they can help. So just having the support of your school board means everything. The school board has so much influence in your community. They can promote your programs to the community and even expand your programs. So just letting the public and your school board, your administration know what's going on, it provides the sense of relief that they know that these problems are being addressed in your school. You can also talk to counselors about what the students need. Some students who are dealing with mental illness do not want to talk to the counselors and about the struggles that they have. So you can just talk to the counselors and say, hey, a lot of students in our school are dealing with anxiety. Maybe we need to push out more resources for those, or maybe we need to host an assembly about that. So just be a voice for the people who don't necessarily want to talk or don't have the ability to talk about what they're going through. You can also send out surveys and report back to them. So any statistics that you can give the counselors to use, they will use them. So just so they know what topic areas they need to focus on more, what resources you need more in your school, just whatever you can do to help to get them the help they need and promote mental health throughout your school. So lastly, we're coming to a close, but I wanted to briefly touch on leaders' mental health. So here are the top 4 tips that I have for becoming the most effective leader you can. Number 1, you have to learn to say no. So even my state executive council, all the way down to my chapter members, all of us are so busy. We have clubs, we have sports, we have homework, we have colleges, we just have things going on in our lives. So many things. You just have to learn to say no. And I can especially say as a senior, this is my last time in some of these clubs. I may never get those experiences again. But if you're not ready to willingly put 100% into everything you're doing, then you need to learn to say no. Learn to prioritize on what you want the most, and push aside the things that you don't. I promise you, you can do them another day. You will be fine without them, but you need to prioritize what you need to do and what you want to do. Secondly, take some time to relax and practice self-care. So you have a very busy schedule as leaders. I know that. Just find some time, even if it's just like a passing period, that 4 minutes. Just find some time to relax, breathe in, breathe out, think about what you have to do next, reflect on your day, and practice self-care. If you are not taking care of yourself, then you will not be the best leader that you can be. The third point, plan and schedule everything out. So I have my planner right here. If you do not have one, I would highly suggest getting one. It's just such a great thing to be able to plan out your day, plan a couple weeks, a couple months in advance, and just the week before, look at what you have and think about what you need to do. So you'll be much more organized. You'll be such a better leader. Um, it just helps you be on top of things. So you're on top of that deadline. It's the night before, just so you have time to plan in advance. Fourthly and lastly, you need to find someone to talk to that you trust. That can be your advisor, your teacher, your parent, even your friends. Just find someone to talk to that you trust about your day, about your responsibilities, things that are going on in your life. If you do not vent to someone, then it'll all stay stuck up in there, and that's not good for your mental health. You need an outlet to get that out. Just find someone to talk to, and I promise you it'll be so much better. With that being said, that is my last point. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you learned a lot about the program that I've implemented in my school, Teen Talk, some leaders' mental health that you can use in your daily life. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to stick around and I can answer those. But other than that, I think I'm done for the day. Thanks, guys.
All right, that's perfect. And along with this, how Max was saying, take time for yourself and try to figure out, what you have on your plate and things like that. We talked about this at our chapter and district officer trainings. If you'd like to check that out, it's called the Plate Method. It was developed by our LTT member, Morgan Kirchman. She was a former state president for Florida FCCLA. I think she served 2019, 2020, and she developed this plate method where you put everything you're doing on a plate and you kind of see if your plate is overfilling or not. So that goes along with our chapter and district officer trainings. Thank you, Max, for presenting. Our Florida FCCLA members are grateful for the insights that you have brought.